This TFMR podcast is brought to you by your friends at JM Bullion. Visit jmbullion.com for all your gold and silver bullion needs. Welcome back to your TF Metals Report podcast highlights for the week of Monday, December 13th through Friday, December 17th, 2021. We knew this was going to be a busy week. We have the PPI on Tuesday, but even more important, the FOMC for December was going to conclude on Wednesday. What would Powell say? Will tapering be increased? Will there be talk of interest rate hikes? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. Back on Monday, though, as the week began, we knew it was going to be a big week. Price was still pinned below all of its key moving averages. Would it end the week there? Well, that was a topic of discussion on Monday, the 13th. Again, the key level for gold this week, holding 1760 as support, because below there, you're talking 1740 and 1720. But the key level on the upside is obviously all of these moving averages and 1800. Again, even today, getting to 1792.40 or something like that, within pennies of the 100-day, the green line on here. Notice the blue line is above all three, so we're making some progress. And if we can rally into the end of the year, we're going to turn the 100 up as well, and everything's going to get bullishly crossed as we go into January. We'll get there eventually, but we'll see. Main thing for just this week is to see if price can remain contained below these three moving averages, which they have been now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 trading days. So we'll see what happens. Tuesday the 14th brought the latest producer price index update, measure of wholesale inflation in the U.S., and though it was soaring, the metals could hardly care. They remain more focused on the FOMC that was pending for the next day, Wednesday the 15th. Silver continued its decline, something like 15 out of 18 down days in a row, something like that, just awful. It had broken below 22 on a daily basis, but that's not so important as holding 2150, those lows, from September the 28th. That's a more important level on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, getting back above 22 was going to be important. That was a topic of discussion on Tuesday the 14th. It's a maddening end to a maddening year. And I guess really all you can do is remember the long-term rationale for holding this stuff. And know that that long-term rationale hasn't changed. Price has gone down this year, and it's been crazy. Hopefully there are other things you own that have had a better year than gold and silver. But, man, next year, as I wrote this morning, man, all bets are off. I mean, maybe the Fed just hikes and real rates go back positive, and we come out of COVID, and gold goes back down to 1,500. Could. Maybe the banks are now out or, don't have such an incentive to be in. And the Fed has to reverse policy and inflation continues and we get into stagflation and the charts are correct and we go to 2,700. That's a possibility too. My job over the next 3 weeks is to think about that and try to come up with some kind of coherent forecast. Wednesday the 15th brought those Fed lines in the Powell press conference, and the end result was more inflation expectations as the Fed itself does not look to raise the Fed funds rate until at least June. It takes at least 6 to 9 months for that to have any impact on the economy and or inflation. So we're talking soaring inflation all through 2022. The precious metals immediately figured that out. Silver rallied, bouncing precisely from the low that was seen back on September 28th of 2141, and then rallying. Was this a sign of things to come? Well, we talked about that on Wednesday the 15th. Anything else today? Well, let's see. We're going to have a very interesting COT report come Friday. That's 2 days from now. But won't this be really, really interesting? And why do I say that? Because we already had such a crazy change in the silver COT last week. Remember, 8,600 contract reduction for the large specs last week as price fell and open interest fell. But the large specs in silver last week added 8,800 new shorts. Okay? So now this week, in the week that just concluded yesterday with yesterday's survey, silver was down 60 cents but open interest rose 5,700 contracts. So if the large specs and the hedge funds were added 8,800 contracts last week, and then silver fell another 60 cents during this most recent reporting week with open interest going up, how many more new shorts did the large specs add in this most recently completed week that concluded yesterday? Another 8,000? Let's just say they did. If that's the case, then you're going to get the large spec net long ratio down to something like 1.5 to 1, and those bank swap dealers are probably going to be net long again. And then you put that with today's price action that failed to make a new low below 21.41 and is actually trying to reverse. And again, as I speak now, 21.84, potentially, especially after whatever Lagarde has to say tomorrow, back up over 22 by the time we close Friday. RSI earlier today down at 30. Man, well, maybe it's going to turn out okay after all. The precious metals continued to rally on Thursday the 16th. Perhaps more importantly, the mining shares did as well, with staging major comebacks, 3% and 4% rallies on Thursday, bouncing from almost precise double bottoms on the daily chart as well. And now here we are getting into the latter stages of December, and it looks like tax loss selling is probably behind us too. So what happens next? Will the shares rally into the end of the year and into the beginning of 2022? That was a topic of discussion on Thursday. I've been talking now for over a week, 2 weeks maybe, about tax loss selling and how this looks like 2013 to 18 and tax loss selling and what the pattern was being done by the 17th to the 20th of December, all that jazz. What was yesterday? The 15th. Look at that low in the GDX yesterday. Almost precisely a double bottom, just like silver versus late September. And then massive rally today that we did not give back. How are we going to know we're cooking? Well, first and foremost, got to get up 31.50. Okay? We'll watch that. I don't know. Gosh, we extend tomorrow? Okay, that'd be great. But even in the next week or the week after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, we can get above 31.50. We could then go to 33. That's kind of been my target all along for the end of the year. And now all of a sudden we got a real shot at it. And you can see this in GDXJ as well. Again, almost perfect double bottom. Not, you had a sharper decline there on the 28th or 29th of September, but still came right back up, held 38, and then rallied to 48. So what we do yesterday, held 38. Now all of a sudden we back up, tapped 41 today. The level to watch will be 42. Then above 42, 45. All of those are in play for the end of the year now. Okay? I really like what we saw today. And on Friday, December the 17th, gold continued to surge, moving up through all of its key moving averages. At one point, trading all the way to 18.15. But then, of course, the COMEX opened. It immediately got smashed backward. Finished the day at 18.05 as during the COMEX session, bonds rallied a little and a dollar rallied too. And it was just too much for it to try to come back. Nonetheless, finishing up the COMEX session 18.05, that places price above its 50-day moving average, its 100-day moving average, and its 200-day moving average. It's also above its 50-week moving average as we close the week here on Friday. Sets up a very interesting Monday, that's for sure. We shall see if gold can hold these gains and extend. If it does, then 1820 comes into view, and above there, maybe even 1840 before the end of the year. Now, we are close to the end of the year. It's holiday week. Next Friday, obviously Christmas Eve, so there will not be one of these podcast highlight shows next week. However, come New Year's Eve and Friday, December 31st, we'll do this again. We'll wrap up the year, look at all the charts as they finish the year, and look ahead to 2022. So thank you for listening. I hope you find these helpful. Of course, more information, more complete information can always be found at tfmetalsreport.com. A subscription, just $145 a year or $15 a month. Hey, treat yourself to your own gift and get the best information you can get on the precious metals by joining us, tfmetalsreport.com. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. We'll talk to you again in a couple weeks.